I won't say the other subjects are easy, like history, geography, polity, and the other, where if you know something, you can write. So here in this case, you need to write 22.2 words, which is not easy at all.
We have used BrahMos. So BrahMos was used for the first time in a war-like situation. That is why we say that paper 3 is one of the most...
Piracy, we know it's not as big a threat as it used to be. It has toned down a lot. Cyber security, which according to me is the most important topic in internal security.
Hi, and welcome to PW OnlyIAS. So basically in this video, we people are going to discuss about, the GS paper 3. Yes, you heard it right, GS paper 3 of the mains examination. So basically we people are going to start a series called, something called Master Class of Mains. So under that, we are going to tell you about each and every GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means all the 4 paper, that what all areas you people need to cover, what are the broad topics you have in the, the paper number 1, 2, 3, 4 separately, and what is the weightage or different subjects we have in this, in the mains examination of different areas. Okay. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss, and the other 2 faculties are going to discuss about the GS paper 3, because my areas is economics. So I'm going to discuss about the economics, and the remaining 2 faculties will discuss about the remaining part. Okay. So before initiating the class, we have an important announcement. So our Srijan 2025 batch is totally free for all those candidates who cleared the prelims 2025. So you can join the batch by scanning this QR code. So as you know, in 2024, we have almost 192 selection from our Srijan 2024 batch. So what you will get as a part of this program, you will get the GS class 1, 2, 3 for all the 3 GS paper, plus the live classes for ethics paper. Plus you will also get the regular mentorship. You will get live answer writing practices, plus personal mentorship you will get. So don't miss this opportunity and join our Srijan 2025 course at 100% scholarship. So let's get back to the business and discussion. So in this video, mainly we will talk about, what are the strategy, subjects, weightage of different subjects in the, GS paper 3 and the other. So when you see the title, of GS 3, which is the paper 4 in the mains examination, is basically science and technology, economic development, biodiversity environment, security and disaster management. These are the 5 broad areas that somebody need to cover in GS paper 3. Now, one thing I'll say about the GS paper 3, this is the least scoring paper among all the candidates who are cracking this examination. Even if you see the toppers of current year, last year and the other, you will majorly find that students are scoring in double digit. Even if you see this year, the top 5 who cleared the examination in 2024, I think 3 or 4 candidates have scored less than 100. That means out of 250, they have scored less than 100, because this is one of the paper where you need to apply your knowledge. Apply in what sense? That whatever you will understand, whatever you will read in this subject of economics, science and technology and the other, there is a practical part. The implementation part is being asked. And moreover, in this paper only, you will find the highest amount of connectivity with the current affairs. And this is the paper where I would say, in majority of the questions, specifically of economics, you will find the words like discuss, elaborate, critically analyze, then after that, you have give your opinion. These kind of words you will find with the mains examination questions. Okay. So let me initiate the discussion about this particular paper, GS paper 3. Like, first of all, in total, I'm pretty sure that you people are being aware, those who have been preparing for the mains examination, that in total, what is the pattern we people are being facing for the mains examination for the last few years, that in total 20 questions are being asked. In total, 20 questions are being asked by the UPSC. Under that, 10 questions is of 10 marks. Then the first 10 question that you will see is of 10 marks that you need to write in 150 words. The next 10 question you will see, these are of 15 marks that you need to write in 250 words. Okay. So when you do the total here, you will find that 1500 words you need to write here, and 2500 words you need to write for these. Okay, so the problem is what, like, I won't say the other subjects are easy, like history, geography, polity, and the other, where if you know something, you can write. But here, whatever the kind of question asked by the UPSC, you need to think and then you need to write here. Because as I told you, you need lot of, prefix like, sometime they will ask you about discuss and so many other words, which I just told you. So you have 1500 words that you need to write here and 2500 words that you need to write here. So in total, 4000 words you people need to write in 180 minutes. So when you divide this by 180, you will find around 22.22 words you people need to write. So that is same in case of each and every paper, like paper number 1, 2 and 3, that is the same scenario. But the point is what, here, as I told you, you need to think a lot and then you need to write. That's why you have to do maximum practice for the, GS paper 3 questions. So as many as, test series you can join, as many as questions you can write, like whatever questions are being given by, your institute that you need to write on daily basis, whatever PYQs and the other things you have that you need to do a practice a lot. Then only after that you will be able to make yourself ready for the surprising question will be asked by the UPSC in the, mains examination. So first of all, writing 22 words in a minute in the examination hall while you are reading the question, because you also need to provide some time to read and understand the question. So you need to read the question, you need to understand the question, and then you need to write the answer also. You getting what I'm saying? So here in this case, you need to write 22.2 words, which is not easy at all in the examination condition, okay, and to write it. Then after that, what all things we have here. Now see, the first 5 questions. Now what kind of pattern we people are being, facing or watching in the GS paper 3. The first 5 questions you will normally find are from economics, that is macro. Macro means about the group, that means about the India. So the first 5 questions of the GS paper 3 you will find are economics, and then normally you will find question number 11 to 15, or generally you can say 11 to 14 is from economics section. That means around 110 to 125, that means around 50% of the paper is basically coming from the section of economics. Okay, that 50% of the paper is being coming from the section of economics here. Then Indian economy section accounts for 44 to 50% of the total marks, as question number 1 to 5, 11 to 15 basically contribute 110 to 125 marks. Not only this, like when I am covering economics in my, GS batches, not only whatever is being given in the paper number 3, there are 2 more topics that we're discussing as a part of economics section. And these are what? So these are being given in the GS paper 2, and that is what? Poverty and unemployment. And the second topic is about the international organization. So normally the agencies like WTO, World Bank, IMF, then after that some discussion about the United Nations, then some discussion about the OECD, some discussion about the FATF. We're all discussing here and there, in our economic section. So you can say in paper number 2 also, sometime what we have seen around 2 to 3 questions are being coming from these areas. So in that way, the weightage of economics is not around 125, that sometime reaches, if you include the question of the paper number 2, that sometime reaches around 160 to 180 marks, I would say. Not only 180, I would say, so at least 160 to 165 marks worth of questions you will find from the topics of economics only. So I would say economics is very, very important subject of the UPSC prelims as well as mains examination, because you must have recently seen that in the prelims of 2025 also around 17 to 18 questions are being coming from economics. So that means when you talk about the prelims, the weightage of economics is around how much? Around 15 to 20%. And same in case of mains examination, if we talk about out of 1000 marks of GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, economics constitute around how much? Around 15 to 16% of the weightage. So this is one of the subject where you have to, make yourself good. Otherwise, you are going to suffer for these much number of marks. Okay. Moreover, when you read the syllabus of economics in GS paper 3 and the GS paper 2, you will find different topics are being given. So what I've done here for your convenience, I've arranged all the topics in a simple and in a tabular form. Okay, that is what the weightage you people are being able to see of economics and the other subject of GS paper 3. But let me come to the topic straight away. See, these are the topics. So not only this, we have a topics on the next slide also. So like I will tell you out of these topics, what are the most important topics you have in the economics. So first of all the topics are important. I won't say that you can ignore those topics which I'm going to say these are not that important. Point is what? UPSC can surprise you anytime. So the point is what? I'm just telling you as per the past experiences and the other, what all topics are the most important that you have to cover and you can't ignore them. You can't leave them at all. Okay. Like first of all, the topic of Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization of resources. So basically in this topic, we have been discussing about, fiscal policy and budget also, which is a very important topic, I would say, from the mains examination point of view. I would say in the last 12 years, not 12 years, in the last 11 years, because from 2013 to 2024, I would say, in the last 11 years, I would say, I think 6 to 7 times UPSC have asked the questions. And I would say only once it happened that the question was really tough, when the UPSC asked about something called tax expenditure, which is a concept which is hardly being taught in the classes. And that was too asked by UPSC in 2013. Otherwise, whatever question has been asked by UPSC from the topic of, this planning and the other are very easy. Like 3 times it happened that UPSC asked the question from GST only. It was those were very easy question, I would say. Like once they asked about the question about the compensation to states, at the time of COVID-19 pandemic, that was a quite a, easily, certain and guessed question by the student. Then second, why GST is not being implemented? What are the problems? Asked in 2014 or 15 mains. And then once they asked the question about that, how it is going to bring about, a kind of a single uniform taxation pattern in case of our country. So here you need to, be kind of good. In the second topic about the growth, development and employment. Again, that is something being covered as a part of fiscal policy only. Because when you talk about the growth, like GDP growth, inclusive growth, then you talk about the developmental aspect of the economy, sustainable development, all the things are being discussed. So again, it's an important topic. I won't say that UPSC have asked the question separately, but they have mixed these things as a part of the other question. The third, inclusive growth and issues related to it, again, something which is discussed as a part of fiscal policy. So it's a broad topic. Okay. Government budgeting, again, it's a part of. So the first 4 topics, I would say, is nothing but a broad topic of fiscal policy only. So fiscal policy and budgeting is a very important topic, I would say, from the mains point of view, that you're not supposed to miss at all. About the Finance Commission, UPSC have asked question 3 times. About the GST, I told you 4 times. About the capital budget and the revenue budget difference, they asked question once. Okay. Sometimes they ask question about the dividend distribution tax, because when there was a change about it, they asked the question. Equalization tax, they asked the question about it. So it was quite certain. So this is something which is very important, a student cannot ignore at all. And same if we talk about this year prelims also, 3 questions from the topic of fiscal policy. Imagine. Major cropping patterns in various parts of the country. Something which I am not discussing in detail in GS paper 3. I am discussing just a part of it, little bit, but it is something which is a part of geography also. So here you will find a question which is a kind of a mix of geography and economics here. Then different types of irrigation system, again something where you will find the economic part and the geography part, which is being discussed by the geography faculty and me also in certain economics portion. Then this one, transport and marketing of agricultural produce and issues related constraint, that we are discussing in the class of agriculture, about the APMC, about the MSP, about whatever procurement agencies we have, whatever schemes we have, like PM Asha, and whatever we have. So again, I would say something which is very important topic from the examination point of view. And I think in the last 11 years, UPSC have asked around question 3 or 4 times from this particular topic. E-technology in the aid of farmers, something which is hardly being touched by UPSC, and they have included a question as a part of science and technology, I would say. They have mixed it. Then after that, issues related to direct and indirect subsidies and minimum support price, as I told you, that we're discussing here also. And indirect and direct subsidies, like, when you're discussing about the topic of subsidies in the class separately, so 5 major subsidies we're discussing. Petroleum subsidies, then food subsidies, then after that, interest subsidies, other subsidies, and moreover, the fertilizer subsidies. So that is 5 broad subsidies which we're discussing in the class. And again, I would say not something which is being targeted by UPSC a lot, but I think 2 or 3 times question has been asked in the mains examination in the last 11 years. Then PDS, again an important topic, asked multiple times. Then after that, we have issues of buffer stocks and food security. So when we people are discussing about the topic of food security, we are simply connecting it with something called food subsidy. Okay. Again, multiple questions has been asked by UPSC in the topic of mains examination. So again, a very important topic. Technology mission, again, a very less, or I would say untouched topic by UPSC. Economics of animal rearing, again something which is hardly being touched by UPSC in the mains examination. Then food processing industry, very favorite topic of UPSC. I would say not only 6 or 7 times, I think even more than that question has been asked, because of what the UPSC is doing is trying to connect it with the e-commerce, then about the FDI in retail, in the food processing, multi-brand retailing, single brand retailing. These kind of questions has been asked by UPSC in the, in the mains exam. So something which is very, very important. Obviously, when you talk about the supply chain management, a lot of questions are being asked by UPSC from this. Now, land reform, something where you will find the multiple questions again. And normally what kind of pattern I have seen, that every alternate year you will find a question is being asked by UPSC from the topic of land reform. Okay. Changes in industrial policy and their effects on industrial growth in the last 11 years, only twice, I would say, question asked by UPSC. And moreover, this topic, though it is very important, but this topic have become less important because hardly any changes is being done by government of India. Like if we talk about, that we people have been waiting for the industrial policy for so long, that the government of India will bring the new industrial policy, because this thing, the last industrial policy was brought by government of India in 1991. So maybe there is a possibility, if the government of India will bring a new policy, then you will have certain questions in the upcoming year. But about the Make in India also, UPSC have hardly asked question in the mains examination. Okay. So topic which is important but not being targeted by UPSC. Infrastructure, again, I would say 4 to 5 times. Specifically, when you talk about the public-private partnership is the area from where the questions are being asked by UPSC from this topic. So you should know what is PPP and this thing. And then after that, investment model, about the capitalist economy, about the mixed economy, and the other questions are generally being asked by. So twice or thrice questions are being asked. So I would say, what are the topics which are being least important? Technology mission, economics of animal rearing, then industrial policies, and then after that, I would say this e-technology in the aid of farmers, and the this is the areas I would say which is comparatively less important. Otherwise, all the remaining topics are very important from examination point of view. So point is what I cannot ignore. So what I can do here as a part of my strategy, that those topics which are being important, I should try to read each and everything about it, which I think part of the UPSC syllabus, because obviously there is no particular things are being defined at what all things you need to cover as a part of one particular topic. So as per the examination pattern, as per the kind of question asked by UPSC, I can only guess that these are the broad areas I need to cover from each and every topic. Okay, and the remaining topic, you should have some basic understanding about it. Whatever question will come, I will be able to answer it. Getting what I'm saying? And then after that, we have these 2 topics which are being given in the paper number 2, that is poverty and hunger. Again, a very, very favorite topic of UPSC. I would say not only, 1 or 2 times, I would say every year UPSC is asking questions from this. So I would say 9 to 10 times question have been asked by UPSC from this topic. Not only questions, but they have also asked topics of essay from this topic of poverty. Poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. One of the essay topic asked by UPSC in the earlier years. Though in the last few years, you will find UPSC is being more keen about asking the philosophical topics, but that is something which is being a favorite topic of UPSC in the mains examination in paper number 2, and sometime in paper number 3 also you're getting some questions. Okay, and then after that, this topic, WTO is one of the topic from where I would say 4 to 5 questions have been asked by UPSC in the last 11 years. That means every alternate year you're being able to find a question related to WTO, or you can say World Bank, or about the UN or IMF. They've asked the question. So it is something where you need to prepare yourself. So that is what the broad area I would say about the economics. Now our next faculty will simply take over and they will discuss about the science and technology and the other area. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome. So in this series of paper 3 mains 2025, I'm Ritesh R. Jaiswal and I'm going to discuss about science and technology and environment section. So now the question is that how to handle science and technology and environment for main examination. So let's start with science and technology and then we'll come up for biodiversity and environment. We'll look into that, right? So as far as science and technology is concerned, you must be knowing that it's around 15 to 20% of the total coverage. So you can expect that 15 to 20% of the marks are coming from this science and technology portion, right? And if we talk about environment part, then it's around 10 to 15%. Rest other parts are already there, and respective faculty, they have already given and they will give some input about it, right? If we go with the science and technology, then you know that science and technology is a little tricky area because it is heavily linked with the current development. And then in the syllabus also they have mentioned some chapters, some topic that you have to go through. But now the question is that how should we handle the science and technology in the light of current affairs, in the light of syllabus, in the light of past year question paper, and how can we do justice with the answer writing in that way, right? So let's talk about it. First thing first, if we talk about technology topics, the syllabus part of GS mains, then that is very important. The syllabus, every single word written in the syllabus is very, very important. And that you can see developments in science and technology and their application and effects in everyday life. So, normally in the class, I call it everyday science and technology, like IT and communication, lots many things which is there in every day. Now, AI is becoming everyday technology, right? DTH connection that you have from the space technology, that is everyday technology. So, lots many things, vaccination in the terms of COVID or any pandemic or any disease, that is again everyday technology, right? So, technology has power to impact our daily life. And then they have written this first thing, and this is very vast because it's a boundaryless area. It's a boundaryless area. But then if the syllabus is too vast and boundaryless, then looking into the past year question paper can give you the sense of that particular boundary. So remember one thing, for science and technology and for many subjects in UPSC, only syllabus is not sufficient. You have to couple the syllabus with the past year question paper, and then you have to decide that, okay, this is what UPSC is looking for. Anyway, we'll discuss the syllabus part first. Then achievements of Indians in science and technology. That means you need to talk about some very prominent Indian scientists and their contribution in science and technology. And there has been, track record of asking few questions, not too many, but few questions from this area also, right? Like MS Swaminathan, Vishwasaraya, they have asked about it. And as Indian also, as a aware citizen and UPSC aspirant also, at least you should have very good knowledge of 10 to 12 very prominent Indian scientists who have basically marked this journey of science and technology in India. Third is indigenization of technology and developing new technology. That is very important. Now this is coming very important because nowadays when you look into the question paper of main examination, they always talk about Indian aspect of the technology, that what India is doing, what this technology can do to the Indian society, right? So Indian aspect, Indian position in that technology, the plans, policy, the funding, any kind of mission that we are going through, that must be taken care of. For example, I can give you that, let's say we are going through National Quantum Mission, and quantum technology is very upcoming technology. So it is very much in a current affairs, right? They have asked question in the prelims examination also, right? And the next thing, that now this quantum computing and quantum technology can appear in the main examination. And when it is appearing, then you should be knowing that India is already going through National Quantum Mission. In fact, India is only 7th country in the world to have dedicated quantum mission. So they might not ask the National Quantum Mission directly, but once they ask development of quantum computing in India or development of quantum computing or quantum technology and their different aspect, we need to mention this particular thing. Rather, majority of the information will come from this technology, this mission only, right? Then there are certain area which has been given like IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, and biotechnology, right? Then there is something called intellectual property rights. These are the syllabus points which has been given by UPSC, right? But additionally, what I can do, I can add something into that. How can I add something to that? By looking into the past year question paper, we can add something into that. We can add, apart from all these things, we have to go through the defense technology, because UPSC has asked defense technology related question in paper 3, and it is science and technology part only, S400, right? Similarly, we have to talk about nuclear technology. So at least apart from this, these two technology, we need to keep it there with the main syllabus. Although it's not mentioned into the syllabus, but when they write, when they can write that affects in everyday life, and then when they talk about Indianization of technology, then things will come up. These things is bound to come up. So all these chapters which are mentioned, that is very important, but defense technology, nuclear technology, because of the recent advancements which are going on, we need to cover up, right? For example, I can tell you that recently we have been in a warlike situation with Pakistan, and Indian air defense system and BrahMos missile, they have displayed a lot better performance, right? And then the entire air defense system has become very, very important. Rather, when we acquired S-400 from Russia, then this question was asked in the main examination, and now this S-400 has been utilized for the first time. And not only S-400, we have utilized Akash missile and many other drone, anti-drone technology we have used. So the air defense system as a whole has become a very important area. And we need to understand, we need to get into the dimension of this air defense system. Moreover, if you look into that, then this also, create another problem, because once we have used BrahMos, so BrahMos was used for the first time in a warlike situation. So now another thing which arises out of it, that till date, Philippine Navy was the only one who wanted to buy BrahMos from India or BrahMos Aerospace, but now many countries have lined up. So now we have to look into that, okay, India is also into international defense market as a seller now. So India has been buyer for a very long time, and now we are playing our role as a seller, right? We are selling, right? So we are provider. So that kind of thing we need to understand in that way, right? And this is what we need to understand, right? Now, like I told you, that only syllabus will not be important. Rather, syllabus must be. Look into the light of past year question paper. So same thing we'll do. And I have already taken some sample question for you. But before we go for the sample question, let's talk about the question pattern of technology. So typically 2 to 4 questions are there, you can see. And like I told you, 15 to 20% of the total weightage. And the focus area, that's a very important part. The focus area of technology is applied section. The first thing, application based, current development, laws and policies, any laws and policies which are there. They might not ask laws and policies directly, but if laws and policies are there, then that particular area become important and the question around that can be framed, right? And the very important thing, societal impact. Societal impact means that what kind of impact it will have on a different part of the society, right? So normally what we do whenever we talk about, technology part, then technology part we divide into four area. One is basic concepts, then application, and applications in different sector, and that's very important. Different sector means, let's say, health application, let's say agriculture application, let's talk about defense application, let's talk about industrial application, right? Application in environmental protection, right? So all different area of applications that we have to find out. It's not necessary that every technology will have that particular sectorial application. The sector will keep on changing, but we have to recognize it, right? And agriculture and health is a very, very important area. Even AI is being utilized into the health area, and the UPSC has asked question about it. I'll tell you. And then the third area is issues and concerns. And with the issues and concerns, we always go for way forward. Way forward. So if there is any issue and concern, roadblocks, limitations, we are aware of it. We should be aware of it. And then we go for the way forward, that what we can do to make it more usable, right? Moreover, if we go with this, the last section, then it is development of technology. Development in India, we can say. Development in India. So any plan, any policy, any law that is there for development, any mission for that matter, if it is there, we have to take care of it. So as a mains writing aspirant, you should be focusing not only on basic concept. I'm sure that if you have crossed the prelims hurdle, then basic concept is not a problem for you. I'm sure basic concepts are there, not only in science, but also in environment. So now you have to focus on the application and sectorial application. You have to focus onto the issues and concern, and you have to find the way out of it. What is the way forward? And then you have to find that what kind of plans, policies, missions are there in Indian context, right? And we'll look into this entire thing from past year question paper as well. So I have collected few questions, not all. I have collected 6 questions for you, and we'll learn that how these things are being asked. There was one question in 2019, how can biotechnology improve the living standards of farmers? Now, how nice question is that? Biotechnology, and you have to connect this technology with the living standards of farmer. That means you have to explore this biotechnology for the farmers in terms of agriculture, in terms of their income, and not only the agriculture and income, rather health also, right? Biotechnology for health also. Because farmers are, big chunk of Indian population, and only money and agriculture productivity will not improve their quality of life. Good health is also necessary. So you have to think in that way, that what all we can do for the farmers, and then how biotechnology can look into that. And if you think in that way, if you have 360-degree approach for something, then the answer writing become easy. But for that, you need to look at the biotechnology not only in the scientific format, but you also need to look into the biotechnology as humanitarian approach also, like what human aspects biotechnology can encompass through. Now the second question, if you look into that, what is the main task of India's third moon mission? Now this is very factual kind of thing, because obviously 2023, that was India's year in terms of moon exploration, and Chandrayaan-3 landed onto the moon. So these things was so much into the news before the launch, after the launch, and lots of discussion happened. So they asked Very technical question, very factual question. So we have to find out main task of Chandrayaan 3, right? And then countries who achieved this task, right? Then subsystems of the Chandrayaan you have to introduce, explain the role of virtual launch control center at Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, right? So if you are well read, if you have been in the habit of reading newspaper and in the habit of following a magazine, newspaper is very important. These things will be easy because obviously these things was very much there. So be sure if something is, a remarkable achievement, if something is so remarkable, like recently this Chandrayaan 3 was a remarkable. Recently this display of air defense system of India in that scuffle with the Pakistan which happened, that was remarkable. So they can get into the technical detail of it also. So be prepared for that too, right? Now, like I told you, AI, artificial intelligence, right? And how AI helps in clinical diagnosis, right? And then not only that, AI is doing clinical diagnosis, and you know that the data of clinical diagnosis is private in nature. So they linked it with the privacy of the individual, right? When we use AI into the healthcare, if you look into that, it's not too technical. It's about, how broad, how 360 degree you can think about it. How much aware you are with that technology and its application and the other area of the GS as well. That is why we say that paper 3 is one of the most multidisciplinary thing. One technology can appear at various places. AI, for that matter, can appear in agriculture, it can appear in manufacturing, it can appear in healthcare, it can obviously appear in IT and communication, it can appear in data management, it can appear in biotechnology. No matter where, AI can appear, right? Next, you can see how is 400 air defense system. Purposely, I put it over there so that you should be able to understand that now even this air defense system and the Indian defense sector is very, very important, right? Even the share market of the air defense and the defense companies are performing good. So in that way also you should understand that things are buzzing on, right? Similarly, there is one question that was very important. Contribution of Sir M. Vishwasaraya and Dr. M.S. Swaminathan in the field of water engineering and agriculture science. 2019 question was there. So now this is a little trickier part because obviously you need to find out the list of the Indian scientists which have done prominent work. For that matter, if I can tell you, like, you need to understand the contribution of Professor Vikram Sarabhai, Dr. Homi Jagir Bhabha, right? We need to, and Varghese Kurian and their contribution into the Operation Flood, right? We need to know about them, right? C.V. Raman Saab, we need to know about them. APJ Kalam Saab, then we need to know about them, right? S.N. Bose and many such Indian scientists who have done remarkable job. Just go through at least one page related to their work, and if their work are linked to something which are currently in news, then it's very important. Because now the question they have asked, Sir M. Vishwasaraya, water engineering, and M.S. Swaminathan, agriculture science. C.V. Raman, spectroscopy. That's a very basic technology being used in space exploration, and many places. Dr. Bhabha, so nuclear energy. And we know that Kalpakkam PFBR is going to get active. And when it is going to get active, obviously we will pay tribute to Dr. Bhabha, who was architect of the entire Indian nuclear power program. So we need to find the linkages, and that way we can select the things out there. One more question. What is the technology being employed for the electronic toll collection on the highway? What are the advantages and limitations? What are the proposed changes that will make the process seamless? So you know that what is the current technology? RFID technology, FASTag technology. What is your proposed one? GPS-based technology. So very much in news. Our transport minister many a time mentioned this entire thing, that they are going to make the national highways toll gate free. And when you are traveling, the money will be deducted by calculating your GPS locations on that particular highway and expressways. So these things are very much in news. You can get it from there. But a little bit of scientific temperament would be needed, right? So that is something we need to understand. Now the important thing about it, that based on the PYQ analysis, there are some area which are getting repeated, right? The area which are getting repeated, like biotech. So biotech and biotech will have two things. One is agri and health. These two biotech. Agri is a little more important. Obviously, health is also important. Similarly, you can see space tech. That is another area which is getting, lots of repetitions in main examination, and all the advancement that we are showing into the space sector will also do the same thing, right? And similarly, there is another area, that is IT, because IT is, that everyday technology, lots many things might come up from there. Even this toll plaza question, it is linked to the IT only, right? Now, there are some emerging area. Now, the emerging area is obviously, the one is defense technology. So that is what you need to know. Defense technology, next generation aircrafts, air defense systems, missile systems, and not only the factual data, their strategic importance in defense sector, that is important, right? Then there is another one, quantum technology. That is very important these days. Any agro technology, so anything from technical area linked to the agriculture, that would be there. And then public health. Vaccines and all will fall into the public health. That are the area, right? So these are the emerging area. If we talk about important part, then obviously any emerging technology of the past few years, that would count, like AI, like quantum technology, that will count, right? Like blockchain technology and their different dimension, because blockchain can be used in defense sector, blockchain can be used into the economic aspect, blockchain can be used in technology, right? And air defense systems. These are the emerging technology of the few years in the last, right? Second one could be GM crops in India, because recently we have developed two new rice variety, right? By Indian Council of Agriculture Research, right? Then third area, that India in a space market, not a space exploration, market. How India is emerging as a big player in a space market, as a seller. Similarly, India in defense market, right? And then there could be, one is technology in manufacturing. How technology is helping the manufacturing sector, whether it is robotics or AI, and making it, autonomous system to increase the manufacturing capacity of the country, that is very important, right? Moreover, if you ask for any strategy or tips, that I'll give you in the last, once I'm summing up the entire thing of the environment as well, right? So wait for it. Now, let's come to the other area. And that other area that I'm going to discuss is biodiversity and environment. That is what it has been mentioned in the UPSC paper 3, right? Now, if we look into the topics of the syllabus, then biodiversity and environment, second one is conservation, environmental pollution and degradation and environmental impact assessment. That is popularly we call it EIA, right? These are the things that we need to go through. And again, same thing applies over there also. If you look into the paper, I mean syllabus, then you have to look into the paper also, past year question paper, and then only you can get the entire value out of it. Next thing, question pattern of the environment, typically 2 to 3 questions you can see, and that will be somewhere around 10 to 15% of the total marks. That's the approximation only. Obviously, UPSC can deviate anytime, and you are prepared, so you don't need to worry about it. And the focus is, again, this is again current development, current environmental issue. Climate change is perennial issue that is going to be there for many years to come, right? Pollution is something that is there, you cannot get rid of it. And conservation and related organizations, laws and policies, very much oriented to the current development. Again, the same thing applies over here, like science and technology. You need to have basic concept. You need to understand the current dimension. There is not application. The current dimension. What is happening in the current? What are the issues and concerns and the way forward? And what India is doing, and they're all, not only India, what is the global coverage of it, right? So if you look into the environment section, so if we talk into the environment, then one is basic concept, right? That is one thing. The second one is that we look into the issues. Once we understand the issue, right? So that issue, how the issue can be solved. What is the mitigation principle for it? So mitigation and way forward. Right. And then the second thing, that India and world. So what India is doing in that way, and what is something happening at the world level. And then you also need to explore this, a small juncture where India is collaborating with the world level organization. That is something which is very, very important, right? Now we look into the past year question paper. Like in 2020, they ask salient feature of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan launched by the government of India. Like I told you, anything that is being launched by India as a plan, policies, law, mission, that is very important. And especially it is related to water. Remember, that is what we call it, Jal hi Jeevan hai, water is life. So even now, if something is related to water, it's a very, very important part for the UPSC nowadays. So water conservation and water security. Similarly, in 2023, there was something National Wetland Conservation Program, and they have framed question on that. And not only that, right? Not only that, उसमें एक बहुत simple, the very simple thing was there, that name a few Indian wetlands of international importance included in the Ramsar sites. Everybody know about it. But they tried to put some international element into that, right? Similarly, again, you can see like in 2024, the last year only, acute shortage of clean and safe fresh water. What are the alternative technology? They have linked it with technology. So how can we get the fresh water, drinking water with the help of technology? Now, all the technology we can explore over there, like whether it is nanotech or biotech or bioremediation, anything, right? Discuss any 3 such technologies, citing their key merits and demerits. Very good question. Very nice question. And this question can only be written if you are understanding the importance of this water conservation and shortage of clean and safe fresh water in environment, and you have read in technology that how can we get this water with the technical help, then we can integrate it together and we can create a very nice write-up for that. That is why we always say that paper 3 is multidisciplinary and environment and technology is very much integrated. You know that. Similarly, if we go with the another question, then the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has predicted a global sea level, basically sea level rise of about 1 meter by AD 2100. Impact in India and the other countries in the Indian Ocean region. So geography and this climate change put together, and then there is a hint of disaster and its management also, and then we have to frame the answer for that. Similarly, describe the key point of the revised global air quality guideline, right, recently released by the World Health Organization, WHO. How are these different from the last update in 2005? What changes in India's National Clean Air Program are required to achieve these revised standards? That was in 2021. So, international guidelines, and then how Indian program can align with that. So that is what I told you, that India and world, we have to explore that juncture, because environment is not a local problem. Environmental issues, climate change is not a local problem, it's a global problem. So when it is global, then the global things are important, and then connectivity with the global with the Indian strategy is important. Next one is industrial pollution of river water is significant environmental issue in India. Discuss the various mitigation measures to deal with this problem and also the government's initiative in that regard. Like I told you, you need to recognize one issue, then mitigation, then way forward, and what government is doing. That is how we'll have to look into that. You get my point? So that is how we need to look into that. Now, if we talk about that, what are the repeated area of environment? Repeated area of environment, if we talk about. The repeated area is obviously climate change, pollution, biodiversity. These are the kings and these are evergreen. So climate change, every single aspect of it. Second one is pollution, biodiversity. These are the things you need to take care of, right? If we talk about emerging one, emerging area, So emerging area is environmental impact assessment. New draft, they have asked the question about this, and still CAG reports are there where EIA is not being done properly, public hearing is not being done proper way, right? Local people are not included, their voice are not reaching. So all kind of things are there. NGOs are basically involved. Any new government initiative to conserve the environment, any new government initiative, and then sustainable, anything which is linked with the sustainable management, that are the emerging area, right? Like I can give you some important area so that you can have some idea about it, that global and national policies for sustainable development. Anything which are global and national policies related to sustainable development are very important. Role of international organization, that you should be very much aware of, UNEP, World Bank and all, right? Similarly, laws and policy like Environmental Protection Act, their nuances, Forest Right Act, right? National Biodiversity Authority, these all things should be very much handy with you. Then, that treaties and conventions like Ramsar Convention, like CBD, UNFCCC, right? So all these things should be there. So environment, I understand environment is too much spread, but if we have a strategy, if we have the pulse of it through the current development and things which are going on, and we have to focus on few areas only, like I told you, that climate change, biodiversity, pollution, conservation efforts, right? Nowadays, environmental impact assessment, we have to I mean, hold this. Now, COP is very important. Conference of Parties. And if you look into the conference of parties, you have to go back all the important conference of parties, how things evolved, and what is the way forward, how the things is going to unfold in future. That anticipation is very important, right? Now we are coming to what should we do? What should be the smart strategy when you are going to write this main examination? Both science and tech and environment. Remember, these both are scientific in nature. So try to make the answer a little more scientific by adding flowcharts, pointers, right? And make it look a little more clean, neat, and scientific. Let's make it more objective. So don't forget, if you see any opportunity of the flowchart, any opportunity of, a kind of diagrammatic representation, not only diagram, right? Diagrammatic representation, go for it. Enumerate points out there. That's a very common thing, right? And try to add dimensions from different sectors and subjects. So if you look into the entire thing, even the questions are coming in that nature. They're pushing you to the other area or other subject or other dimension. But if you can bring in some new dimension into it by just 1 or 2 lines, and you can highlight it into the entire answer, then it can uplift the entire answer's quality. And that is what you need to do, right? So this was the strategy discussion about science and technology and environment, and I am sure that you are well prepared about it. My duty was just to give you a little bit of the hint, a little bit of guidelines and direction so that you can make maximum out of it.
So I am here with internal securities question paper analysis. That is basically GS3. You all know it. So specifically, we are going to see here internal security, what type of topics we can expect. Is it easy to crack? Is it very difficult? Let us get into it. But before that, this is my official Telegram channel. You can send in your answers here, the PYQs in the PDF format. From 2013, whatever question papers are there, from there you can send in your answers. PYQs only, mind you. The DMPs, etc., you can share it in the concerned platform of PW itself. This is exclusively for sharing your PYQs only. You can send in all the 4 GS, essay, and the optional public administration. Clear, people? So without any further delay, let us get right into it. The breakdown of topics and its analysis. Pretty simple index. So let us get into it. Organized crimes, narco-terrorism. These are 2 terms that started coming into UPSC, obviously because it had started appearing in the newspaper in the year 2022 as well as in 2024. Clearly shows what this topic entirely is: current affairs oriented. So this is the reason why we keep telling you, please stay in touch with your newspaper. Because sometimes what happens is, even though when you take up the monthly current affair compilation, such analysis is missed out. Such analysis from the side of the government or such analysis from the side of the newspaper reporting itself is missed out. So this is where, even if you had read it at least once in the paper, you will come to know, okay, what am I supposed to write for this particular question? Moving on, maritime security, which was asked in 2022. Another question related to it, which was asked back in 2014, was piracy. Now, piracy, we know it's not as big a threat as it used to be. It has toned down a lot. The maritime security, what they are talking about is obviously India's vast coastline and how we are ensuring the security of it. And this year, especially because 2 ships now, back to back, have underwent accidents just off the Kerala coast, we can expect a question here. Although yes, will it be directly connected to security? Not necessarily. It will be more to do with environment. I'm just giving you the analysis here. I know would have simply skipped that current affair. I need not have even have told this to you, but just to give you the analysis. All right. Then we have cyber security, which according to me is the most important topic in internal security. And you can clearly see the reason. 2024, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 13. So if you actually look at it, barring 1 or 2 years, every other year, question on cyber security has come one or the other format. It could be to do with the latest cyber security threat, or it could be to do with one of the issues with regard to social media, anything it can be. So when we look at this, definitely honey trapping can come as a question, digital arrests can come as a question, or even for that matter, AI generated fake videos can come as a question. The very familiar and also in news, digital data protection bill can be in question, or the fact that we don't have a specific law to deal with doxing or releasing the personal information of an individual online. We don't have any particular law under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita to deal with cyber stalking, cyber threats, and cyber related harassment and violence. We don't have a specific law. Even a question regarding that can be expected this year. Clear? Then obviously the very old Naxalism, 22, 2018, 15, 13. As you can clearly see, the last time a question on this had come was in 2022. So this year can we expect? Definitely yes. Because of the major advances that the security forces have made against this particular internal security threat. So goes without saying that this can be a question for all the good and the wrong reasons. The good reason, obviously, because of the developmental activities. The wrong reason, if you ask me, well, violence has to be met with violence. There is no two ways about it. If you're ready to surrender, you're ready to talk, great, we can also have a talk. But you cannot have negotiation with people when they have a gun pointed to your head. So Naxalism becomes important. Money laundering 2021-2013. It's an on and off topic. It can come, it may not come. It can again come with regard to the powers of ED and how the courts have been trying to put a boundary for what the ED can do and cannot do. For all those reasons, again, you will have to deal with that particular topic. Then obviously comes terrorism. The Pahalgam attack, the Operation Sindoor following that, these can be easily expected. So the whole sequence of events, right from the surgical strike to the air strike, including the accidental firing of BrahMos. Many people have conveniently forgotten this incident. Then today, Ops Sindoor, which, to be very honest, is still an operation, an ongoing operation. It has not been suspended, it has not been called off. Army, Navy and Air Force still have complete freedom to respond back to any threat from the side of Pakistan. So that whole thing becomes important. Overground workers, UAP and NIA acts, hot pursuit and surgical strikes, competitive industry, narco-terrorism. As you can clearly see, these are terms and terminologies which had appeared in the respective years' current affairs. From there, they have picked up these topics. External state and non-state actors, which was asked in 2021. Border management, 24, 20, 19, 16, 14, 13 and 24 again. And China and Pakistan, the question that had come in 2024 was literally the static topic. Like what is the outstanding issue, border issues between, or the contentious issues between China and Pakistan when it comes to border. So that is the same point what has come over here. Now what you need to understand here is this simply means not just your current affairs. You need to know the historical story behind every issue, internal security issue what we are facing. So even let us say when we are talking about the Golden Triangle, northeastern side. Why is it that drugs are coming in so smoothly inside? Well, guess what? No border. There is no proper border fencing between Myanmar and India. We have started it now. It will be completed by 2030 or something. For the simple reason that it is not at all easy on the mountainous region at that altitude to put up a boundary wall through the jungles, through thick forest. That's the reason. So yes, can we expect a question on border management? Definitely yes. Security threats along border areas of Myanmar, Bangladesh, which was asked in 2020. So together, if you ask me, which are the areas that we should be focusing on? Cyber security, Naxalism, terrorism, border management, even to an extent organized crimes and narco-terrorism. Both are one and the same. Narco-terrorism again is an offshoot of organized crime. Moving on. Various internal security agencies, which was asked in 2020 and 2023. This year, can we expect a question like that? Definitely yes. Why? Because Directorate of Revenue Intelligence was in news because of the DGP of the state of Karnataka, his stepdaughter getting arrested for gold smuggling. As well as we can also expect a question on SFIO, Serious Fraud Investigation Office. Again, another agency which has been in news because it is currently investigating allegations against the daughter of the Chief Minister of Kerala. So that is also in news. So definitely, yes, you must revisit them. Drug trafficking was asked in 2018. This year also we can expect it for the simple reason that multiple times in the last 1 year, we would have seen in the news that this many consignment of drugs was captured off the coast of India at this particular region. You would have seen those news. Again, very important. Northeast insurgency, the last time the question had come regarding it was 17 and 19. So, obviously, insurgency is no more a major threat. But when it comes to Northeast, we know Manipur is still burning. The reason for the clashes between Meiteis and Cookies is very, very old. And we also know that even Manipur issue is not a new issue as such. It is more to do with a clash of fight or a clash between two communities for the very limited resources that are available there in the form of land as well as in the form of opportunities like government jobs, colleges, etc. Mob violence was asked in 2017, AFSPA in 15 and 19. Will it be asked again? Well, at the minimum, you have to revisit the major rules and laws that helps in tackling the various internal security threats in our country, be it NIA related act, be it the ED related acts, as well as AFSPA. These three you have to revisit no matter what. Religious radicalism or communalism was asked in 2014. Aviation security or aerial threat was asked in 2014 as well as in 2023. This can come as a news this year for the simple reason that drones were deployed both by India as well as Pakistan. The Turkish-made drones or the Chinese drones were used by Pakistan, whereas India used its own indigenous drones as well as drones provided by USA, France, Israel, etc. So obviously drone and its related advantages, disadvantages, we need to do it thoroughly. Clear, people? Now, again, the other issue that I want to highlight here is, if you actually look at the cyber security topic here, most of the topics are something which you are very familiar with. But if you go back to the question in 2019, you have a question like Cyber Dome project. It was an individual initiative started by the state of Kerala, basically to tackle child pornography. It appeared as a news article in the news. Many people ignored it because it was just to do with a state. But UPSC went over and above its normal way of questioning and straight away asked a particular topic which was confined to a state. What I am trying to tell here is, any topic, every topic which is connected to internal security, even though it is about a particular state or a policy initiated by a particular state or a problem confined to a particular state, is important. This was least expected by many people as a question to come, and obviously it came. Getting the point here, people? That is the other thing that I wanted to tell you. Whatever has appeared in the news, even though if it has come only once, but if it is a potential solution or it will help in reducing potential threats to the country, then it is important. So you need to keep out a sharp eye with regard to your current affairs. Moving on. So what's the analysis? What's the conclusion here? Is this section easy or difficult? Is this section static or current? Let us address the first point here. Is it easy or difficult? Well, generally it is very easy. Because you can more or less predict the questions. It is absolutely current related, so you can easily predict the questions. Like I told you already, now this year, they can ask questions with regard to Indus Water Treaty. They can ask questions with regard to, now if Shimla Treaty is suspended, how will it affect India? Or the question of resolving the LOC or outstanding issues of Kashmir between India and Pakistan. That can come as a question. Getting the point here. So we can predict things, or Operation Sindoor, the drones, what we had to use in it. These areas has to be covered no matter what. Anybody can predict it. No doubt about it. They can even ask a question like, if India goes ahead to suspend Indus Water Treaty, can China also use the same tactics against India to arm twist India into listening to what the Chinese wants? Such questions can come. Getting the point here? Should I focus more on static or should I focus more on current? Well, let me be very honest here. When you're talking about cyber security, well, cyber security is something which is mostly current. Very rarely they are going to ask things from the past. Whatever they ask, it will be based on what is there in the newspaper. But some other topics, let us say when we are talking about terrorism, when you are talking about drug trafficking, you need to know the strong background or reasons behind it. Why it is there in the first place. Now, okay, everybody knows it is happening from Pakistan, or it is happening because of funding from Qatar, Doha, etc. Fine, but why? What is the reasons behind it? How did it start? When did it start? Same thing goes with border management. Why are we having border issues with China and Pakistan? What is the issue here? How is LOC different from LAC? What is McMahon line? Is China ready to approve McMahon line? What is China stand there? What is India stand there? So this background information you need to know. That means whether you follow static or current depends entirely on the topic. If it is a topic that has historical underpinnings, then basically what you will do, you will go behind and find out what it is. Getting the point here? Now, as it is, those who have sat for my internal security class, you will be knowing I have covered these topics in such a manner. Those of you who did not enroll for it, well, need not worry. Like I told you, just pick the topic, go back, find out how it all started. Clear, people? So, with that, we come to an end of our session, people. Any concerns or queries are there, please put it up in the comment section. If at all any other doubts are there, or you want to send in your answers of internal security, well, you know where to find me. Send me your answers in my Telegram channel. God bless. Take care.